Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Post Falls Urban Renewal Agency Commission meeting this morning. It is Thursday, the 20th of April, 2023, and I'd like to call the meeting to order and ask Director Johns to please call the roll.
Thank you, Chairman. Coles.
Here.
Davis.
Here.
Geltness.
Here.
Fleshman.
Here.
Crosby.
Here.
Clemenson.
Here.
Baltzell.
Here. Good, we have 100%. We have a quorum for sure. Okay, and Commissioner Fleischman is honored to do the Pledge of Allegiance. Please rise.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Christy. Okay, head down the agenda now, and we'll look at ceremonies, appointments, and announcements. Are there any to share? If anybody knows, I'm not aware of any.
I'm not.
No. Okay, good. We'll move on to conflict disclosure. Do any of the commissioners have any conflicts with anything on the agenda today that we'll be discussing? Very good. Okay, thank you. Consent calendar.
Chairman, Commissioners, good morning. Item A in the consent calendar is the Commission meeting minutes of March 16th, 2023. Item B is the payables for this month, totaling $7,416.07. Item C is the bank activity report, which shows total funds in all accounts of $2,745,475.75, and accrued interest for the month of $6,114.35. Item D is the financial reports as of March 31st. Approval of the consent calendar will authorize a transfer of $7,416.07 to the First Interstate checking account for the monthly payables, and $6,114.35 accrued interest to the general fund. Mr. Chairman, I'd answer any questions.
Does anyone have any questions or comments on any of the report on the consent calendar? Okay, if not, I'd like to have a motion to approve, please.
So moved.
Okay,
I'll second.
and a second, okay. Any further discussion? Okay, roll call vote, please.
Coles.
Aye.
Davis.
Aye.
Fleshman.
Aye.
Crosby.
Aye.
Geltness.
Aye.
Clemenson.
Aye.
Baltzell.
Aye. Motion carried. Okay, committee updates, finance and policy, Commissioner Crosby.
Finance Committee reviewed the financials for the month of March that you've just approved. And Joe and I went over a few questions I had on the budget to the year-to-date budget. But those all got answered successfully, so nothing else to report.
Okay, thank you. Any questions of finance and policy? District review, Commissioner Coles?
I have nothing to report, but we're having a meeting this morning after this meeting.
Okay, all right, good. We'll look forward to hearing from you next month. Okay, communications, property, and personnel.
Nothing to report.
Okay. Very good. Citizen comments. I don't see any citizens other than staff and employees and commission members, so I won't go into that, but citizens would normally have an opportunity to comment on anything that's on the agenda today. But we'll move on past that to unfinished business. Is there any unfinished
We
business?
have
that
no
you're aware of?
unfinished business.
Okay. New business, Agency Policy 20 Amendment.
Chairman, Commissioners, the amendment to Policy 20 specifying the limitations on general fund usage in the event agency operations are taken over by the City of Post Falls was initially proposed at the Finance and Policy Committee on February 8th, 2023. Additionally, under the process for review section, the review of account balances together with review of activity and expenditures of funds through the agency's checking account has been revised from quarterly to monthly to match the actual current review process. That's what I have for the amendment. If I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay. Any questions? And that's consistent with the yellow markings on the one that was submitted?
Yes, the one submitted in the packet was changes were highlighted for
Correct.
your ease of identification.
Yeah, and it was very good. Thank you.
And these have been reviewed by council. They're all consistent with the existing legislation.
Right, it basically just adds language from the Urban Renewal Law and the Local Economic Development Act into the policy is what it does. So it's not really anything controversial, it's just adding law.
Thank you.
Excellent, thank you. Very good. Any other questions or comments regarding that?
The only thing is that I felt like there should be a comma in here at a certain point, that just to clarify the language, so that it shows that it's a pause, and I mean, sometimes that language can be kind of, taken out of text. So I did just respond back to Joe that there should be a comma after the codes that they have.
Okay, I don't think we
Comma?
needed.
After 50-2007C.
Oh, I see.
Well, there's already a lot of commas in that sentence.
Right, it would read, in the event of a takeover of agency operations by the city of Post Falls pursuant to Idaho Code 50-2006 2C and 52,007C, comma, general funds shall only be utilized to achieve, et cetera.
Yeah, that's fine,
So-
yeah.
Yeah, I don't object to that.
Might as well add one more comma to it.
Okay, very good. That being the case and no other questions or comments, then I would like to ask for a motion to approve the
Move to
amendment.
approve.
Second.
Subject to the
Subject to the
one
comma.
change recommended by Commissioner Fleischman. Yes.
Okay, and we had a first and a second, right? Okay, very good. Any further questions or comments? If not, we'll need a roll call vote on that too, please.
Jeltnes,
Aye.
Fleshman,
Aye.
Crosby,
Aye.
Davis,
Aye.
Clemenson,
Aye.
Coles,
Aye.
Baltzell.
Aye. Motion carried. Okay, staff report and updates.
Chairman, Commissioners, the State Controller's Office has been provided with the agency's fiscal year 2022 audit report and the fiscal year 23 agency budget as required by Idaho Statute 50-2006, paragraph 5, section C. In the Pleasant View District, Project Drive or Will Hunt, their on-site and off-site plans are now both on hold with the intent to review the project after 1 year. I'd like to include this as a discussion item on the agenda for the May 2nd Commission workshop. In the
Definitely.
In the downtown district, a Millworks project update will be provided by the developer at our May 2nd workshop. And also in the downtown district, representatives of the housing company and St. Vincent de Paul visited the office on March 28th to introduce a project located at their 202 West Celtice Way location. They are looking to construct a 32-unit structure with ground floor commercial space. Depending on city requirements, there may be public infrastructure components to the project. They have been provided with the agency's project questionnaire form and will provide a presentation of their project at our May 2nd Commission workshop.
This is workforce housing, correct? Yep.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you.
Yes. That concludes my staff report.
Okay, and we'll get all the detail on all those items on the second. We don't need them today, so.
Right. I am introducing a little bit of the information on the St. Vincent de Paul project to the District Review Committee this morning as just part of a project, district update
Okay.
agenda item. But we will hear from the project representatives and get a good presentation on what it all entails and where they're at in the city process on the 2nd.
Okay.
Question?
Mhm.
Joe, did council approve the termination suggestion that we made with regard to terminating the Center Point and East Post Falls Urban Rural District? Did they approve that resolution, or has it not gone forward yet? I know planning.
We're still working on the language for the ordinance.
Okay.
Yeah, I had some correspondence with Warren Wilson last week, and I don't believe they have approved that yet. He was
Okay,
kind of
so it'll
tweaking the language in the ordinance, and we were kind of going back and forth. He had some questions, so.
That'll probably be on their agenda sometime in May or later.
Probably, yeah, right now, so it'd be the first meeting in May, I would think.
Thank you.
Okay, good. All right, any other comments or questions with staff report? If not, we'll go to commissioner comments. Any of the commissioners have anything they want to add?
I do.
Comment?
Just
Yeah.
a question, because I keep getting bugged by a certain individual about where we're at on the Pleasant View project. And since Bob's here, I figured he could give me a quick update so I could pass it on.
Seal, Community Development Director. As Joe had noted, I believe that the Pleasant View infrastructure projects will be on your next workshop to discuss. The proponent, well, city was proponent, but one of the primary businesses up there, the Project Drive, is putting their project on hold at this current time. Their intention is to put it on hold for a year. The city is going to continue to work with them to advance the plan approvals and work with getting the permits through the railroad in order to do the 3 drill sets that we need to do through there. And I've got a call scheduled tomorrow with Steve White to discuss his plans and hopes for the near or long term. But it is currently on hold at this time. The cost of infrastructure up the corridor and the cost of construction and the doubling of expectations for that area. So it's an interesting project, and it's a conundrum for sure. So
Moving at a snail's pace.
what's that?
Moving at a snail's pace.
Yeah, and we're Shelley and I are working to get to try and reach out to the state to see if there's opportunity to apply for an EDA grant, see if there is anything that we can do along those lines. That was something that we looked at a couple of years ago, but due to trying to move things forward quickly, we decided not to apply for that grant because it also wasn't going to cover everything that we wanted. But seeing as there is some time available now, we're going to go ahead and look into it, see what it would be available to help with, and we're looking at various other options too. So,
Question, Bob. Is the city looking at an alternative to running the sewer all the way up Pleasant View and coming in perhaps from the north?
right. So we are having, while the city is reviewing the plan sets, we're having an engineering company outside Keller is looking at the routing of the sewer system. Due to the conflicts at Prairie and Pleasant View, you've got a gas line, railroad line, electric lines, everything kind of running through there. We are looking to see if it would make sense to deviate from that direct path and actually stop at Grange and go eastward on Grange to Corbin and up. That would take some of that sewer line outside of the district, but the slightly longer route with very little conflicts may be cheaper in the long run than trying to go through the area that we had originally anticipated going through. The county is willing to work with us on crossing their property if we did go up Pleasant View to Prairie. But that is still a tight fit between the gas line that goes through there and their future, or existing drive aisles, so.
Thank you.
Excuse me, did you say that in the meeting on the 2nd of May, we were gonna have a briefing on that subject, on that project?
Yes, I have that as an agenda item. I would like to have that as an agenda item and present the information that has been being discussed.
It concerns me, and I heard what you said, and I'm glad you were able to spot on tell us. But it just seems to me that my concern would be that if they're putting it on hold for a year because of interest rates and cost of stuff, you know, goods and materials and all that kind of stuff, probably not gonna change in the next year.
No.
If anything, it might get worse. So I guess we would need to kind of talk about how long do we sit in that process or continue to have it on the books, and how long would the city be willing to move forward with some of their stuff, not knowing what even would go in there? I guess that's my concern, that I hope that would be addressed at the meeting.
There's certainly a lot of what ifs, and I think that, you know, there are some good conversations that could be had at that meeting.
Sure.
Again, that's why we are looking at our other options, seeing what still makes sense. You know, this was an area that was annexed into the city with expectations of being able to provide city infrastructure to sites north of Prairie, north of this site in particular. You know, there's a school-owned property up there that they still anticipate needing to use that land. So we still are focusing on finding a way to do it. But you know, the private company did run into problems. They were unable to find any lending companies that would cover the cost of offsite infrastructure. So they were gonna have to carry the entire load of that offsite infrastructure in cash. That was a big hurdle. So trying to see, you know, see how things can transform in the future is still where they're at. So, and what can the city do? What can Urban Renewal do? What can other property owners within the district do? You know, having to look at that whole picture again.
I appreciate your comments, especially without knowing we're going to be asking anything.
Okay.
But I appreciate that, and I think we're all, I know I am for sure, very interested in knowing more about that. Sometimes projects, because of those reasons, have a struggle, and then what I would hate to see is the city get too far down the road in planning for infrastructure changes when there's the demand for the infrastructure may have fallen off, at least temporarily. But anyway,
I'm happy to attend the workshop too, if you've got that scheduled.
Good. Appreciate that. Thank you very much, Bob.
Thanks, Bob.
Okay, commissioner comments. Do we have any other commissioner comments at this point in time? Nope. Nope. Okay, and chairman comments. I probably said all I need to say or wanted to say, and I appreciate everybody being here. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. We are adjourned.